So they have all of your... Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Ahana and here we talk about all things related to stationery, planners, productivity, organization, and in general trying to live your best life. And if that interests you, please don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Now, those of you who've been here for a while already know that I love painting and drawing and all of that. So I have a video of all of my entire art journey and my previous filled sketchbooks and everything linked right here. So make sure you check that out. Today I will just take you through all of my art supplies, and I love watching these videos on YouTube from various professional and amateur artists, and it's really fascinating for me to see the range of supplies that they use, the brands that they use, and what they in general think about them. So I have a few things here with me today, and I am most excited to show you my brushes, but we're going to have to wait a little bit for that because I'll show that to you right at the end. But before that, I want to show you the different kinds of colors I use. So I'm not much of like a sketching kind of a person. I am a painter, so I have different kinds of paints, and I also have certain kinds of pens which I use to accentuate my paintings. So my favorite kind of pens are the Faber Pitatus pens. They are 8 pens and they have a really wide range of strokes from 0.1 mm to 1.5 mm, and you can use them for the real fine detailings or just bordering or even for the whole entire artwork. And I have done a detailed review of these and I will link it right here. And I've also made a painting with these pens, so that also is linked in that video. Please check that out. And for all of the things that I will be showing today, I will put links in the description box below so you can get them if you want to. And in case you do end up buying them, please let me know how you like them. Okay, also I'll give you like the average price of these kind of items. So this was 8 pens and it is for 850 rupees, but I think I got it from an Amazon sale and it cost me around 600 rupees. So this was the first item. Next up we have watercolors. Now I am very comfortable with watercolors as a medium. I have been painting in watercolors for years now. I'm a little bit of a Faber-Castell loyalist and I think they have great quality stationery, whether you talk about pens or pencils or color pencils, sketch pens. Definitely sketch pens, they have really great quality. And these like Pitatus pens, the watercolors, I really like the quality of their products. I have this Faber-Castell Watercolor Set and it has 12 colors and it's called the Artist Watercolor Set. It's not the regular student one. So they all have all of your major colors that you would expect. So it has your lemon yellow, your ivory black, burnt sienna, crimson, scarlet, Chinese white, yellow ochre, viridian, chrome green, cobalt blue, like 12 main shades, and you can create like n number of colors with that. So it has all of your major primary colors. I use it quite often. This is probably my second set. Once you have like your basics in place, you kind of don't need too many. I have seen sets with like 48, 96, whatever number of colors, and you need just the main things. Like if you have your reds, blues, greens, yellows, blacks and whites in place, there is very little else that you need. So I really like this. It's really simple and it does the job, and it also has like an inbuilt palette over here. I don't use it because I have different palettes, but if you need to like kind of take this on the go, then I think this is also super convenient to have. And these are like 12 shades for 170 rupees. Very affordable and pretty compact as well. So I really like these colors. Next we have the Brushstroke gouache colors. Now I have very recently started dabbling a little bit into gouache. Like I said, watercolor is like my main medium of preference, so I kind of got these very recently because I wanted to branch out a little. And also I see these beautiful paintings on Pinterest made with gouache, and the best thing about gouache is like is an opaque color. So those of you who are kind of really familiar with art, you would understand that watercolor is like a transparent color. You can see the pigment, and once you like mix it in water, it becomes like a transparent thing. Like the color is there, but you can also kind of see through it, and once you layer with colors, they kind of blend into each other. But for gouache, it's not that. It's like a very opaque pigment, so once you put a different color gouache on top of the others, so the colors don't mix. So I thought that was very fascinating and I was really excited to try it out. So these are 24 shades and I got them from Amazon and they were about 900 rupees. So I think this is also great value for money in case you want something like a differentiated experience. So I enjoy painting a lot and I do it pretty frequently, so I thought this was like a not that much of an amount to spend on art supplies, but definitely to each their own. I just want you to have the full information. Also, you need to know that these tubes are much bigger, so they are of 12 ml each, and the watercolor tube in comparison is of 5 ml each. So the 12 shades of 5 ml tubes was 170 rupees, and the 24 shades of 12 ml tubes was about 900 rupees. So that's kind of where the price difference lies. Plus there are very different kinds of paints as well, but I just wanted to show this to you for comparison. So this is the 5 ml and this is the 12 ml one, and I'm not going to read out all of the shades here clearly, but these are so many beautiful vibrant shades, and I think I'm going to do a little bit of a swatch test, so stay tuned for that. So the next set of colors that I have are the Camel Artist acrylic colors, and I've had this set for about 7-8 years now. This has 12 shades of 20 ml each. So again, I will do this small comparison. This is a 20 ml tube and this was the 12 ml tube which I got for the gouache. So acrylic colors are very different from gouache and watercolors. They take a very long time to dry and they're good for like canvas kind of surfaces, so I've used them on those surfaces only. And on paper they take very long to dry and kind of weighs the paper down because of their consistency. So yeah, but I haven't used them too much. As you can see, I've had these for 7 years and it's almost all full. But the plus point is also that they haven't dried up, and as long as you keep them in the tubes, or I think if you, as soon as you take it out, you have to use it. You can't let it lie there like a gouache or a watercolor paint when you just mix water and you can activate the paint again. That's not possible. These colors, as soon as you take them out, you have to use them up. So yeah, and when I bought it, it was like 500 rupees at the time for these 12 shades of 20 ml each. So that concludes my paint plus ink collection, which I use regularly. These are my go-to supplies. Coming to the notebooks, now you've already seen my notebooks in my sketchbook tour. I mainly use this one notebook for A4 size, like bigger drawings, and this one's by Anupam, and this was for 225 rupees and it has 40 sheets and it's 160 GSM with like multiple layers of watercolors. Also it holds and the paper doesn't fray. So sometimes when you are adding multiple layers, you put too much water and the paper kind of starts to crumple up. That does not happen here. And I will show you one painting which I particularly really love, and I've used multiple layers of watercolor on it and it stood the test of that. So this painting was inspired by Taylor Swift's album Folklore, which came out I think 2 years back, and the cottagecore aesthetic that was all the rage during the first wave. So yeah, that's kind of what inspired this painting. And here I've used watercolors and multiple layers, like very extensively, and this paper has not frayed at all. So the other side there is no marks, or it's still like pretty sturdy, so that's not affected it, and I really liked it. And yeah, here is my painting of the Simpsons, and here I've used the Pitatus pens to like make the borders prominent and everything, and these colors are like general watercolors. So I like using this notebook for like my bigger paintings, and I like using this small A5 notebook which is by Factor Notes, and this one is like a 140 GSM paper. So I like using this for my smaller artworks or just like something on the go. So like this is an example of that, like really light colors. I don't use too heavy colors over here. And this one was for $4.99. Recently I have bought this artist's gouache paper, and this is A5 and this is 300 GSM. So I haven't used it at all, and this was for 199 rupees, and I'm really excited to try it. So now that we have covered the papers and the paint supplies, and the next thing is the instrument, right? So how would I paint? I have a huge collection of paintbrushes, and this has been accumulated over time. So I'll show you the ones which I had when I was young to the ones which I purchased most recently. There was this brand called Dayal, which is I think still pretty popular, and those were the brands of paintbrushes that we used back in school, and I was not familiar with any other brand or any of the professional brands. So they had these synthetic bristles and they were pretty like multi-purpose. You had your typical, you know, from 0 to 4, 6, 12 pretty wide brushes as well, and they were able to like cover your whole surface, and they were for each, like you have a size for each kind of purpose that you would use it for, and I really love them. to date, like these were the ones I had 10 years back when I had art in my class 10 boards, and they still are one of my favorite brands, and they've stood the test of time very clearly. I've used them extensively and they've not frayed or anything, so I try to take pretty good care of my brushes and they've stayed overall intact, so I love these. Then when I got the acrylic ones, then I also got these Faber brushes, and these are like the flat head brushes, so they give you those like flat squarish strokes, and I really like that. They range from 1 to 4 sizes, and this is like the thickest I have. I don't have thicker than this for like square brushes, but again these have been really good on canvas and I enjoyed using them. Specifically for canvas, I really like them. On normal paper, I feel like they spread around the water too much and doesn't give me as much control as I would like. Then come my latest purchases. So there are a lot of stores which were just physical stores when I was a kid, but as I grew up, they have kind of evolved into online stores, and I don't know if they are available outside of Calcutta, but they are pretty popular here. It's called Stationery and People's Book House. So PBH is like their e-com version and Stationery is obviously an e-com store. And I used to go to these stores so much as a kid. It's a real nostalgia hit to see all of these items available online, and they have made like everything very aesthetic and also pleasing, because I think they kind of also cater to the content creator economy. There's a lot of content creators I've seen, especially based out of Calcutta, who really use these products and endorse these products, and it's very fascinating for me to observe. So, and some of these creators actually were classmates with me, so I'm very happy that they're doing so well, and I get very excited when I see all of these things. And I've always liked stationery, and in terms of art supply, I didn't have a lot of choice, so now that I do, I absolutely love it. So the next is the PBH artist collection, and I have quite a few paintbrushes here, but first I want us to take a moment to admire how beautiful the tips are and how perfectly, you know, preserved they look. Beautiful, right? I love it. I have these, I think 4 or 5 brushes which are called a Mop Red Brush, and I have them in sizes 6, 8, 9, 10 and 12, and these are very good for covering a large area, and they are also really interesting, like in the way that you can, you know, just swerve it, because then it can fan out and give you a very different kind of pattern than you are expecting, and you can also make really fine patterns with the tip here. So I really like these brushes. Like the first time I saw them was on some reel, and the painter there was making these beautiful patterns, and I just could not help myself, so I got these mop brushes for that. Then I have these really fine brushes, and they go down to like 0 and lower. The bristle length is really short and they're super fine, so it's great for like the absolutely intricate detailing kind of scenes, so this is great for that. And also from them I got this one really long brush, and this also, it's super pointy, but it can also be swerved to kind of make a different kind of pattern and sort of fan out a little bit. I really like using the very fine ones for very small details and like getting into the complicated corners. If I don't want to use a pen to border something, I would use this brush to border it, because I wouldn't be scared of, you know, the borders becoming too thick or anything, or smudging or whatever. So that's for PBH. There's another brand called Stationery, and they have the most aesthetic stationery ever, and I got these beautiful lavender brushes from them. And as you can see, some of them have like a shorter bristle length and some have a longer bristle length, so that's why I got them. I got them for very like fine tip detailing, or if I want to make mandalas and I want to color them, and I really would like some brushes which can get in the very small spaces. So that was my brush collection, and I have been really excited to use the gouache paper and the gouache paints, so I want to paint something for you with that, and let's see how it goes. Let's see how this turns out. I am very excited to finally use my gouache paints, and I'm going to do like a floral pattern. There's something that's in my head. I just want to see how it works out. So we're going to take a little bit of Viridian hue here, and the color is like 118. in case you want to follow along or something. Here I want to take this brush by PBH Artists, and it's in number 4. So since it's gouache, it's going to be really pigmented and very opaque. And this is what I meant by, you know, you can just vary the thickness of your stem or anything. Like, it's very good for drawing leaves like this. So I want to get this color, and on top of that I want to draw the flowers so that I can show you that it's an opaque color. So here goes. I will just do all of the leaves that I can think of doing with this color, and then I'm going to slowly, you know, add highlights or make things darker and do a little bit more detailing with the other shades of greens. So like, this is also that sort of a color that once you've taken it out, it's very difficult to, you know, reactivate it. So I've just used a little, but I'm just going to, you know, make sure that I am using all of it because I don't want to waste anything. Okay, now let's try a different kind of green because I just want to add a little bit of accents into this, just so that it doesn't look so one tone. In this color, it's called sap green, and the number of the color is 117, and I'm going to use a different brush for it, something which is a little thinner, because I just want to bring in that sort of depth and variation into this painting. Using a number 2 brush this time, that was a number 4, and just going to use this pigment. So this is what I meant by, like, this is gouache, and you know, you can like kind of layer colors on top of each other. So here you can see that these greens are not really mixing, like they are pretty distinctive, even though I am using a pretty wet brush on top of this, but it's still pretty distinctive. So I'm just doing this light green on the tops of it to show that it's sort of towards light, and it's adding like a different light and depth sort of a thing. So that's just what I wanted to do. I'll add a little light green highlights on all of the leaves, and some leaves I'll just, you know, make a little bigger with the green so that it looks better. And sometimes the brush has sort of left off at a certain point and it looks a little weird, so I'm just going to even those out. And of course, all of it doesn't even have to be with green, right? I can use yellow as well, so that would also give this kind of an effect, and like a darker green on the ends would, you know, make that like the darks more darker, and you can understand that it's hidden under a lot of foliage or something like that. Like this part, I'm going to draw a flower on top of it, but just I'm going to make just a little bit seem sort of light, otherwise it will look a little odd. But the rest of it I just want to be hidden under a flower, so it wouldn't even be visible over there. I think we're good with the green. Now we should use a little yellow. I don't know anyone if they remember, but we used to do this when we were kids. Like, I definitely did. Whenever we would draw like any kind of grass or greenery, we would always have the topmost layer to be yellow, because that kind of reflected the sunlight, and then we would have like a normal, like a sap green or something that would show the original color of the leaves, and towards the lower part of the leaves we would always have something which was a dark green, or even sometimes an indigo or a navy blue, because we wanted to show that these are the parts which are hidden under a lot of foliage and they are very dark, and that was kind of like the logic of that. So that's something that I continue to use actually, because I feel like these light and shadows are what kind of gives your painting that extra glow. Like, I could have just done it in one color and you would definitely know it's a tree, but now you know that the light is coming from the top. So those things are very interesting for me as an artist. So I really like doing that. I think now we can move on to the flower, and for the flower I want to use a thicker brush because it has to like take up more space and just hold that much of color. And I want to do something which is a little unique, so I want to do like a orange flower. I don't know if this is supposed to be orange. The name of this color is mid yellow, so let's see. Maybe just like make the base with this, and then we'll try to do vermilion for the detailing. And this is what I really like about having a gouache, because now your colors don't blend into each other and I can do this easily. I'm going to let this dry for a little bit, but look how bright this is and how relatively easily you could cover up the color that was behind it. I'm going to make one more flower, which is here. So I'm pretty satisfied with how this is looking right now, and I'm going to go in with a finer brush. So I will use like one of the long-tailed brushes, and I haven't used this one before, but I want to do the insides of the flower in like this bright vermilion. Just add a little bit of details with the dark green, which is also called the olive green, and I don't want to use too much because I feel like it will be wasted. This is it, guys. I was able to use a lot of different kinds of brushes and my gouache paints and the gouache paper, which did not crinkle even though I used a decent amount of water on it. And also I really like seeing how the paints layer on top of each other without blending, so that was interesting. With practice I feel like I definitely will get better, but this was just to show all of you how it can be done. And yeah, that was the video. I hope you enjoyed it. Please let me know in the comments down below what are your favorite art supplies and what videos you want to see on this channel. I'll see you here again next week. Bye.